Imagine turning on the news, opening a book, or going to the movies and seeing a cruel story about who you are that someone else simply made up. For Black Americans in the early 1900s, this was a daily reality, shaped by racist caricatures that dominated the national media. The response to these lies was a massive, collective effort to reclaim the narrative. Using ink, paint, and sound, a new generation of creators set out to write their own story from the ground up. They proved that art, music, and literature could do more than entertain. These tools could shift perspectives and challenge the very foundation of American racism. This shift began with the Great Migration. In the years following the Civil War, millions of Black Americans packed up their lives to escape the unfair laws and domestic terrorism of the South, looking for economic opportunity and safety in northern cities. While families moved to hubs like Chicago and Detroit, a massive wave of migrants headed for New York City. The density of this movement was staggering. Over 175,000 people settled into Harlem, a neighborhood spanning just 3 square miles. In a few short years, this small area became the largest concentration of Black people in the world. Harlem became a cultural capital. Brilliant painters, poets, and musicians who were once isolated across the country suddenly found themselves living on the same blocks. They shared meals, traded manuscripts, and critiqued each other's work. This proximity transformed a group of individual artists into a massive, interconnected community. By gathering so much talent into one tiny space, they built a movement that was finally loud enough to be heard across the entire country. The thinkers of Harlem approached their work with a clear goal. Often called the New Negro Movement, this was a deliberate intellectual strategy to demand respect and rewrite the rules of American society using the power of the written word. Poet Langston Hughes committed himself to depicting the authentic, everyday lives of working-class Black people. He refused to polish their experiences or hide their struggles, choosing instead to celebrate the beauty found in real life. Similarly, author Zora Neale Hurston spent her career preserving Southern Black folklore. Her work showed the world that their culture was deep, complex, and worthy of study. Intellectual leaders like W.E.B. Du Bois worked to publish these voices in magazines and journals, ensuring that this new literature reached a national audience. By publishing their own unfiltered stories, these writers provided a sophisticated rebuttal to the dehumanizing caricatures of the era, asserting their intellectual equality one page at a time. While writers were filling bookshelves, Harlem's musicians were reinventing the American soundscape. They took the highs and lows of their personal experiences, the sadness, the joy, and the victories, and translated them into the complex rhythms of jazz and the blues. Duke Ellington composed sophisticated big band music that brought a new level of elegance and technical skill to the jazz scene. Louis Armstrong's energetic and innovative trumpet playing redefined the possibilities of American music, influencing almost every genre that followed. These musicians created an atmosphere that crackled with a new kind of kinetic energy. Bessie Smith, known as the Empress of the Blues, used her powerful voice to share the honest stories of working-class life. And Ella Fitzgerald, the First Lady of Song, possessed a vocal talent so undeniable it eventually commanded attention on a global scale. This music was so brilliant that it began to have a profound impact on a racially divided country, drawing listeners together across the color line. White audiences began traveling to Harlem in droves. Inside these nightclubs and cabarets, people would socialize and dance together, creating small pockets of integration that were often illegal in other parts of the country. The music created an environment where the rigid social norms of the era began to bend, forcing the broader public to acknowledge the sheer talent and humanity of Black artists. The Harlem Renaissance was much more than a period of great art. It was a foundational moment for the American civil rights movement. By refusing to be silenced or defined by others, these artists broke the weight of old, harmful stereotypes that had stood for generations. The work created in this tiny neighborhood paved the way for future activists and continues to shape the pop, rock, and hip-hop we listen to today. It serves as a reminder that when you use your own voice to tell your own true story, you possess a force capable of changing the world.